Save all that energy.
Going live. We're live.
We're live.
I've been sick for a bunch of days and I'm upset already.
I already saw your comment on the
Yeah.
barbell spin.
Yeah,
Ben Smith.
I saw
He's
your
very
comment to
triggered.
Ben.
you got to turn all your stuff on. Trying to get.
I saw that comment and I was
Is that
like,
better?
oh, this live is going to be really interesting.
Well, he's already on.
My God.
He's triggered. Yeah.
He's already gone off. It's about to go
Yeah.
off again.
15 minutes.
Okay, so I went on Hiller and barbell spin and was like, I just comment, take this down. Like, don't ruin the fun.
Yeah.
And then, like, obviously comments come through, but then Ben Smith posts and like,
Yeah.
look, and I'm not a huge fan of Ben Smith already. I think he's a whiny little baby. Outside of like all the other stuff he's done is great, but like when he gets on his podcast or he talks about CrossFit, he just like whines about stuff. I don't
He
like
does
it.
kind of whine.
Kind of how I'm whining right now about Ben Smith. Like he'll
The
do that.
irony.
There's irony in this.
Whining about a whiner.
Yeah, I'm whining about a whiner. Anyways, I was like, I wrote, "You're so cool, Ben Smith," but he took it in good fun. He said, "This made my day," so that's fair. But I just like don't understand. Like, okay, I get it. CrossFit, you know, like live stream stuff. You hit the button and it goes up, and then you bring it down. They're like waiting. They got a lot of work to do, and it was technology and stuff. And you're gonna like play the gotcha game, like for what? Like I just don't understand it.
I don't know
Yeah.
why the gotcha game is even relevant in this stage for
Yeah.
what we're doing right now. Like if it was quarterfinals and it was 48 hours before quarterfinals started, okay. Maybe
Right,
some
right.
scrutiny is, but the damn workout was coming out in 50 minutes. Just
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah.
They got it up. Look at us. We got the workout up. Oh, we CrossFit messed up again. Dude, what? Come on. I'm so mad. And then the worst part is because I'm out here just trying to love the open and like get members to do it. And I want CrossFit to, like, everyone's like, oh, I want CrossFit to be successful. Well, no, you don't when
Right.
you post that. Like, just
No.
ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, not to change the subject, but we're a microcosm of actual society, and we are in a society that enjoys the race to the bottom for information right now. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't
Very
mind
true.
knowing the workout a little bit
Sure.
early. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just the thing. I just like, I don't understand it. And then someone was like, oh, Hiller's like the pundit from like Sports Center and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's, I
No.
agree. In most cases, he is. In
I
this,
completely disagree. Hiller's the paparazzi.
okay, that's fair. TMZ.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like-
I could see
it's
that.
just he
Hiller
does it.
being TMZ.
Yeah. Like legit information. Because that's the thing is like I don't mind having like pundits and stuff, but they need to have a legit information about things. And sometimes he just pops off. But generally, there's nothing really bad about it. It's just the whole fact of like, okay, we're all waiting for this open announcement. People works on this job and they like do this thing and everyone's trying to do the best that they can. And you're just like posting on your Instagram willy nilly. It takes you like 2 seconds because you did a screenshot off of YouTube and posted it up. Like, how easy was that work for you to do? And you just like ruin everything for what?
Mhm.
10 seconds of like, oh, look, Hiller's got the workout. Barbell spin is so smart. Ooh. Because you're sitting on YouTube
Right.
and you like see it pop up and you're like, oh, screenshot. I got it. Oh,
Those
And
are,
it provides no value.
right.
yeah, it just triggers me. Makes me upset.
Those are the people that are doing the worst in the open too.
All right, so what are you guys' predictions for the workout?
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
I said it 2 minutes after it was announced last week.
No, the workout's been leaked, Harley. You missed the whole thing.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah, it's
Harley.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
this is all triggered.
Sad day.
I don't know. I guess like I just wanted them to have a better taste and just take it down. Like that's like the kid that comes into kindergarten and is like telling all the other kids Santa Claus is not real. It's like you didn't need to do that.
Right.
Like we all know he's not real. It's totally fine, but just you didn't need to do that.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Heather.
What?
I just told Heather Santa's not real.
Spoiler.
You guys saw it live.
Just kidding.
I don't know.
Santa's not
I have pretty low expectations of people at this point in my life. So
Let's talk about something better though.
Where was
yeah.
it leaked? How was it leaked?
Barbell spin, Hiller fit,
Oh, really? They all sort of.
They just screenshot it and threw it on Instagram.
Kristen texted me.
Like an hour ago, too.
Yeah, like
Wasn't
40
it?
minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I got it from a friend who I guess either got it from a friend or saw it on social media. So
I'm just going to play the card that it's a snow day in Colorado, and so I'm just like not paying attention to anything.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Santa Claus isn't real.
Gym's closed. I'm at home, not living.
Oh,
Normal
for
life.
real? The gym is
Yeah.
closed.
Yeah,
Damn.
That's
Okay.
why Harley's in the studio over there.
it's like 12 to 15 inches of snow
Oh, man.
today.
I'm so
I mean,
jealous.
just today, and then supposed to be like nearly double that in the next 24 hours.
I was
It's
going
currently
to say
79 degrees in North Carolina.
It'll be
It's
80
here, too.
tomorrow.
I sent a picture to CJ because I saw the snow. I was like, bong. No, what I was going to say was the penalty to Tudor Magda and the no penalty to the lady athlete. What are the implications of that? Now, here's the thing. Rulebook wise, they did the right thing.
Yes.
Exponentially, as we grow and we go down to next year's Open, did they do the right thing? Now people just don't put in videos.
Right.
Like
Well,
that girl's going to get her score. And it may be real, it may not be real. Who really knows? Like, I'm assuming it is legit. But then Tudor Magna gets a score of 800 because he got the 20% because his hips weren't opening up all the way. What happens? Where do we go from here?
How many people on leaderboard didn't open their hips all the way?
If you watch Hiller's video, it looks like the entire world.
Looks like everybody's
Exactly.
exactly just the whole way in that video.
Well, it's like everybody puts a video in or nobody puts a video in.
I want CrossFit.
Yeah.
I mean, now, on all seriousness, I opened my hips all the way, but I did bounce the bar. Come at me, CrossFit. Someone tell on me. This is going to be on the internet. Someone's going to come and give me a percentage deduction.
Validated the score for you, though, Todd.
I did because I'm the affiliate owner.
Oh, right,
Oh,
right.
so you cheated.
I did. I bounced the bar. I don't even know if it was that egregious. I was thinking about it, though. I was like, oh, man, I was bouncing the bar. But my elbows weren't breaking, but I was definitely trying to put it into the ground.
Just letting gravity do all the work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do every deadlift. I don't know what's wrong with that.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Isn't that the thing, though? If your elbows don't break?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
think-
as
yeah,
long as you don't
so.
intentionally bend your elbow and then straighten again on the descent.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I definitely wasn't doing that. So I'm all good.
It's,
Yeah,
the,
you're good.
it's the 2013 West
Gravity's
Pilot.
gravity.
That's what you did.
Oh, that's exactly. Not the Ryan Fisher West Pyatt.
Yes. Oh.
Oh, we're name dropping now.
I'm
Huh?
going to effing kill you.
I love that video though.
It's a good
Hey, that's such a good video.
Best video, though, is Dave Castro's follow-up to it, though. That was real classy. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was good. Put everybody in their place.
What
I mean,
about
he
Dave
did it
Castro's deadlift? He didn't bounce the bar. He just stood there at his knee for 35 seconds.
Damn.
I mean, honestly,
Old.
I gotta give Dave credit for that lift though. I would have never held
Would've
on to
put
the
it
bar
down.
that long. Oh yeah.
I would have quit.
I've had some grindy lifts, but I've never had a lift that grindy.
For those of you guys who don't know, Dave Castro has a video. It's on YouTube. You can find it. He does some deadlift, and it literally takes him like almost 30 seconds to deadlift the bar all
They
the way.
put a timer on it.
Yeah.
Was
It's-
it Dave Lipson and Jason Kalipa in Jason's
Yeah.
garage?
They were
Something
doing the
like that?
CrossFit total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Classic.
did it, though. He did it.
Mm-hmm.
How much was on the bar, though? That's the real question.
225.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Harley.
Training bar with 15s. It doesn't matter. What do you
I
guys
don't,
I don't even think he got it.
I don't
No, he failed it.
Yeah, he failed it.
Oh,
That's tough.
It's something.
I don't think this really I don't know. I don't think it really changes anything. The video thing. Like maybe I'm just at this point I said this earlier this week. Maybe I'm just a curmudgeon-y old head at this point in the CrossFit space, but I don't think it really changes anything. I don't think CrossFit cares because they technically followed their rule book.
Sure.
I don't think they care that there's not enough video review. I don't think they care that there's not enough video review at the quarterfinal level. I just think we do a lot of shouting up at the sky. And I don't think they care.
Yeah,
That
I
is-
agree.
that is true.
I think they come from a place where ultimately the right people are going to get through. I think that's like literally the thought process.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
So
always
those-
gonna be their answer.
Till those people don't want to do the thing anymore for the $0.
Yeah.
I guess someone else will just come along and take their place.
Yep.
Well, all right. So the workout's going to be 5 rounds, 10 thrusters, 10 chest to bar pull-ups, 1 minute rest, 5 rounds, 7 bar muscle ups, 7 thrusters, 95, 135, 65, 95.
Mm-hmm.
People wanted separation. Do you think this is enough for them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude,
Oh yeah.
it's chest to bar Fran,
It's
Plus-
chest.
5 reps.
Yeah.
It's chest to bar Fran plus
Yeah,
plus
party
some
time.
at the end.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, you got to think it's a 10-round workout with 14 minutes to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you got to stay moving.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think there's plenty of separation. I was just more just asking the question, see where you guys are at.
Yeah.
And if this is gonna like calm the fucking peanut gallery who's like the open's not hard enough.
I'm actually upset with it. I wanted it to be like, I think it would have been cooler just to be straight up toe to bar 10 rounds for time and thrusters. Because there's more people in a CrossFit affiliate that can do toe to bar than they can do
Chest
chest to bar pull ups. Also, yesterday, this was hilarious. So I watch a lot of things, and I was sick. Greg Glassman was on Sevon, and it's like in the middle. No one's gonna ever see this part. Is Greg was like, because Sevon asked him, "Is there something in CrossFit that you would walk back, like that you regret?" And he said, "Kipping pull-ups." I was like, "Damn, okay." And it's because he didn't realize that there would be people who are like 60 pounds overweight who could do kipping pull-ups.
Yep.
And just the havoc of gymnastics on these overweight individuals who should not be doing that type of stuff, and that you should be doing strict strength before. And he regrets, I guess, like having it or allowing it. Or
Yeah, I
like,
think didn't he say something like, "Oh, gymnasts will inevitably learn how to kip and create dynamic like momentum whenever they get to a certain amount of volume tolerance."
Yeah.
But not until then. And like, because CrossFit as a training inside of gyms and coaching, it's not like martial arts where like you're a white belt and you only do front kicks until you're a yellow belt, and then you learn round kicks. And like,
Mhm.
you will not learn round kicks until you get your yellow belt. Whereas CrossFit's like, yeah, go ahead, get your first bar muscle up on day 1. I have no idea about you, but you're strong. Sling your body around. No big deal.
Yeah.
Get after it.
In the gymnastics course, they just discussed very similarly. We reward the ability to do the thing, not how you're doing the thing. So
Yeah.
it's more of like a quantitative measure rather than qualitative measure. So, you know, to increase the service you're providing to your members, they're discussing obviously within the affiliate. It's just about rewarding and creating this top-down culture where it's more about the quality of the movement pattern and creating that good foundation rather than just being like, oh yeah, you did a bar muscle up, sweet. And it's a bar muscle up that you would never want to share on your social media to market your gym.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is it's in your face, like on Instagram though. Like,
Yeah.
even if you create that quality inside of your gym as the owner or the coach or coaches, you're going to have people coming to the gym like, well, I saw so-and-so and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, okay. So you're just kind of, unless you live on an island, there's no way that they're going to be able to walk it back. But I thought that was really interesting. So then with that in my mind, I saw it and I was like, oh, come on. Like, we could have just did something a little bit different. Thrusters were inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
but it could have been like V-ups and thrusters. Just really get everybody with that V-up standard.
I thought it was gonna be regular kipping pull-ups. I was fully expecting like regular chin over the bar pull-ups or a mandatory like kipping pull-up.
What do you think's, with that being said, what do you think's worse, like when people see it, and like you're a developing athlete in an affiliate? Strict pull-up or bar muscle up?
What do you think that they
Reiterate the question.
Yeah, what-
Reword it.
Like you're at home and you're an athlete who's developing, and you can't, like, you have a hard time with gymnastics, and their open workout has bar muscle ups, are you more upset about that or less upset than if it said strict pull up? Or the same?
I think it depends on the person's ability to do strict pull-ups, because if they can't do them, then they're going to be upset regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I would be more upset with strict pull-ups because, like, just even speaking for myself right now, if this workout was strict pull-ups, I would probably fare worse than I will being able to do chest to bar and bar muscle ups because I have pretty good capacity in those things relative to my capacity against the field in strict pull-ups.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a good question, though. I think it depends.
I'm trying to stay unbiased because I'm built like a monkey, so I can do strict pull-ups like really, really well. It wouldn't really phase me either way. That said, I think that it's always going to come back to the person's individual experience, right? And so and their attitude about their experience. I think some people just play the victim and they're going to be upset either way, or they're going to look at it as like, well, I just got exposed. I better develop whatever the skill is.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's more how I look at it for me. But
Same.
I was just wondering because I don't know. Because I mean, most of us work in an affiliate, so you get people and they're like, oh, bar muscle ups. And they like get all sad. Or they're like, I feel like there's less sadness around when there's strict pull up work than when there's like bar muscle up work. That's why I asked. I feel like most people are like, all right, strict pull up work. Okay, I could figure it out. Like, but bar muscle ups, everyone's like, that's never happening for me. Why are we doing it?
What's crazy to me with that is like, for most people who think bar muscle ups are people who think bar muscle ups are unattainable, if they just did a bunch of strict pull ups, they'd probably get bar muscle ups.
Yeah.
I put something about that on my story yesterday from a question somebody asked.
I will tell you that it's changed my thought process about the program design we're going to have for the gym after the open. Hearing Greg talk about strict pull-ups and not kipping.
Here's a great question for our 3 minutes until we watch this. One of my coaches, who also coaches at another affiliate, brought up the point. He was like, do we now, because he programs for a local affiliate, he's like, do I now program deadlifts at 185 instead of 125 or 225?
Well, this is a good question. I like this. Keep going.
Like, do I worry about the old open standard of preparing that affiliate because they're not competitive, small affiliate? Like, I was always trying to push 225 deadlifts, 155 deadlifts, those kind of things, bar facing burpees, et cetera, et cetera. He was like, do I worry about that now? And I was like, that's a great question.
Everyone's freaking out because the live feed froze. Just FYI.
Love that.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like no, because I know like here at our affiliate, like, or some of the things that we do with our individual clients is with like dumbbell work, right? Like doing heavier work so that when they're actually asked to do less, then it like feels easier. So I think it's like better to like keep it to that higher standard and asset of them so that when they are asked to do 185 or 125, then it's like, okay, cool. Let's chill.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If you take your level 2 or you look at level 2 information or like level 3 information, CrossFit has a very set loading parameters. And Dave like talked about this a little bit on his weekend review. And something that a lot of people don't know or go to is that the women's weight has always been, and they covered this in level 2 when I took it. I don't know if they do it anymore. It's 70% of the men's weight. So whatever the men's weight is that they create in the workout, they just make it 70%. And that's what the women's weight ends up being. Whether you agree or disagree with that, doesn't matter. That's their process. Then from there, like because they have all these workouts and in the level 2, it's like, okay, this is a high volume workout, medium volume workout, low volume workout. They typically have weights that are assigned to how you would program design those workouts. And if you take the program designing thing online for CrossFit, they go through this as well. And if you're smart, you'll go, okay, this is interesting. So they already have a select set. Like they're not just pulling these weights out of a hat, which I think some people think. So as a program designer or a coach, and as all of you guys know, as competitive athletes, like if you find that sweet spot of force production, and weightlifters do this, because you're trying to create velocity on the bar. So if we now apply that thought process to dumbbells, more barbells, different barbells, you could run an equation, a mathematical equation of velocity and the tension of that and go, okay, I need this athlete training at, let's say, 115 pounds so that they get better at the 95-pound thruster. And so in their training program, they do 115 pounds, but at the same volume as the 95, because that would increase their speed at the 95-pound bar. But if you train them at 135, which some people try to do, you're going to dampen their speed and power and velocity because that differential of loading parameters is too great. And so then you start to create these constructs, and like for that individual or like a broad general scope for the affiliate, you could figure out where those thresholds are for people. So like I was playing with the idea, well, we have John LeConte, who is first in the world right now in 55, 59. I coach him. All year I've had him use 50-pound dumbbells. In the competition, he's had to use 35s. Right. I think there's something to that. I think he's created, and if I made him, let's say, to use a 65, I might have effed him and not had that force production and turnover rate because the loading parameter for the repetitions and the speed I wanted of that repetition was too far apart. But if you get them pretty close, you can create that adaptation that I think a lot of people are missing. And CrossFit talks about in the journal of like loading and the choice of loading and how they do that and why. So it's an interesting conversation that is like way more nerdy than I think most CrossFit coaches want to dive into.
Yeah, I think that was a far deeper explanation. What I jumped to was, yes, the level 2 sort of programming conversation, that lecture, right? And they, in any GPP or well-rounded program, you're going to have light days, moderate days, heavy days. And so whether or not your friend wants to program exclusively 185 because this one open workout did it, I would call that a lighter deadlift, right? Relatively speaking. Yeah. And so keeping it within the simple terms rather than discussing like the nuances of force production, it would just be like, well, if you're writing a well-rounded GPP program for a class, you're probably going to have them prepared for the open, regardless of if it's light or moderate. Right. Yeah. Also, if you look back in every previous open of 225, they were doing 100 reps. Think about the average score in this workout was actually only about 70 to 80. Right.
It was going.
Very few people got to 10 rounds.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, that's all.
Is it going?
Oh, Jocko's doing it.
Oh, yeah. I thought Jocko
what's
was supposed
going
to
on,
do it.
y'all?
Oh, here he
Jocko here from Jocko Fuel and CrossFit, and I'm coming to you from Victory MMA.
It is the workout.
And CrossFit.
The leak
here
was
in San
right.
Diego, California, where we just had a big fire, and we are rebuilding from that fire. But luckily, our whiteboard in the CrossFit survived. And good news, on this whiteboard, I have got, for all of you CrossFit athletes around the world, workout 24.3 for the CrossFit Open. So this is what we're doing. 4 time, starting off with 5 rounds of thrusters and chest to bar pull-ups, 10 thrusters, 10 chest to bar pull-ups, 5 rounds. Women on this first evolution, women at 65 pounds, men at 95 pounds, gonna do 5 rounds of that. Once we get done, there's 1 minute of rest. Catch your breath. Once you got your breath back, in 1 minute,
1 minute.
5 more rounds.
Yes, baby.
This time it's a little bit heavier. We're doing 7 thrusters, women at 95 pounds.
You're out here catching your breath like this.
135 pounds, followed by 7 bar muscle ups, 5 rounds of that. And the time cap for this whole thing, 15 minutes. So guess what?
Oh, 15.
It's gonna be a good push. That's what we got. Like I said, it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a good push.
Bro, everyone can finish this workout.
Go get after it. We'll talk to you later.
You get emo. Like if you're not very good,
Dave talks about
you just
pain.
1 minute, 10 thrusters. The next minute, 10 chest.
I was just thinking,
the next
my
minute,
shoulders,
10
my
thrusters.
shoulders. What are we gonna do?
You know what I mean? Like
there's
if you're
Fran,
limited,
there's friendly Fran, and
like you're a
there's whatever
GPP
this
person.
is, holy 24/3. This is going to be quite a
I was
test.
just emo, man.
He
You'd
definitely,
be
Dave Castro,
done in
saving
12
the
minutes.
best for last.
And who doesn't
less,
love
with the 1
thrusters? It
minute
is a
rest.
staple in the open, but also to increase
Yeah, because it's a 15-minute time cap. There's 10 reps plus
Yeah,
a 1
it's gonna
Are
be
you saying
quite
alternate
a
the movement
challenge, and I
minute?
think if we've been there
Yeah.
before,
They take you
minute
20
rest
minutes.
is
Yeah,
for
it took 20
sets
minutes.
of 5
Sorry.
rounds
Oops.
really isn't going to feel like
Bad
much of a rest. There's a
Close
chance to
enough.
shake
That
out
map is
the
not
hands,
mapping.
maybe find
Yeah,
the grip
oh,
again,
shit.
catch your
That
breath
was
for a
bad,
minute,
sorry.
but then again, trying to brace yourself.
I think
and
you
know
have
the
to
bar's about to get
do
heavier, and
minute
the pulse
45
starts to
rounds.
increase even more.
Well,
This is
90
45 second
seconds.
rounds.
The workout.
Yeah.
This is going to be
Yeah.
a fun one for the whole community.
No,
I think you probably have to be
You can
faster than
enter
that
to
because of
win
the
a
1 minute rest.
VIP trip for
Yeah.
2 to the
'Cause you only have 14
2024
minutes.
CrossFit
That's still
Games.
for
Use the
people.
QR code to
Yeah.
get all of that information. But before you take
How
on
fast do you think these guys are gonna
24.3,
do it?
you want
Really.
So my gut reaction is this: you should do the first 5 rounds slower than you think, because you need to capitalize in that back half.
That back half, yeah.
Is really where
Agreed.
for the elites are really going to make up the time. I mean, well, the world class, they're going to go fast the whole time, but you get my point. Like,
the easiest thing to do right
Deja
now,
vu.
though, if you want to use like data, is just look at Friendly Fran and
Fantasy.
Fantasy Land for the teams from the
Yep.
games, and then Friendly Fran too, because it's like what the men were about 4:20 on average. There were obviously faster times than that, but and then the women was about 6:30 on average from that year when they did the COVID online portion. So
Yeah.
with that and that volume, I don't think bar muscle ups is too much different for them as far as like a fatigue rate, but the cycle rate is obviously different. So you're going to see them in with the women rest, I think under 9 minutes for the ladies, and then for the men, 7 minutes.
Yeah. I could see some 7-minute times. That's
Yeah.
fast.
It is fast.
Yeah.
We're gonna see though. We got 2
Yeah.
guys going. They're gonna do good. Jay Crouch is
yeah, I'm just thinking about like a Fran time, right? Like a slow, smooth Fran time, 3 minutes, 3:30 for elite athlete, elite male. And then you have a minute rest, you're at 4:30. And then you have another 35. That would be, it'd be pretty aggressive to be in the 7s. I mean, I think obviously the best in the world are going to do that for sure. They could easily be there, but because they prove us wrong, or, you know, give exciting data all the time.
Did it freeze again?
Yeah, froze again. See if the chat.
I feel like my first knee-jerk reaction for almost everybody that I coach, regardless of their level, is this is 10 rounds for time.
Yeah.
Like, ignore the 1 minute.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Like, pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I would, because it's the open, and like you're gonna have somebody you're gonna know if you're in the 25% or not, and that's
Yeah.
ultimately the goal. It doesn't matter how good you are as an
Yeah.
athlete. Like, what do you get out of like you should obviously put in intensity, but like realistically, it's like if you're overly concerned about it, you could just walking pace it, and you're still gonna make it in, no problem.
Yeah.
But to maximize it, yeah, you gotta slow it down a little bit in the get go, because you're gonna get hot and you're gonna need those 35 bar muscle ups.
I like the reps at the beginning because we're all sitting here saying you got to slow down in the beginning, but it's only 10. It's only 10, coach.
It's really, I don't even think it's like slow down the movement. It's just another transition workout. It's who is going to be disciplined in the transitions, who's going to pick up the bar before you want to, jump before you want to.
Right.
That's all it is.
I mean, if you're on
Especially in the back half. It's like,
if you're on a team, you got to rip it.
yeah, for sure. And I think especially for like a high level male or female in the back half, 7 bar muscle ups is really not even a big anything to like be concerned about, even when you're pretty tired. So it's really going to come down to who just commits to, again, starting the next set.
I think even if you're a decent level athlete, like 95, 96%, like you strategize this around those bar muscle ups, because even if you did need to break the thrusters with a quick 4-3, it's so much easier to pick that barbell up versus get back on the pull-up bar.
I think it depends on someone's strength, like profile and like their athlete type for sure. Because I think that someone who struggles with bar muscle ups may take 20 to 30 seconds between sets, and then someone with a strength limitation would easily take 20 seconds before wanting to pick up the bar again, especially when they're hot. So
yeah,
I don't know if one is necessarily easier than the other, but it just depends on the person and understanding who that is for you, like what type of athlete you are.
Yeah, but do you think for women, do you think the 95 pounds is even that heavy anymore?
No.
Like, I just don't know if it's strength limitation.
I think it should be 105, 135, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think the men, it's a bigger sticking point at 135 than it is for women.
We did some 135, 95 pound thrusters yesterday, and Paige, she did all sets of 10 unbroken, but she said it was hard.
Oh, this is the affiliate people going first, and then they're having the elite go.
Mm.
Yeah, this is good.
Gotcha. That dude is fired up.
Yeah, he
He's
came to
ready
fight.
to rock.
I'm glad
Oh
he's.
yeah.
This is good. They have. I like their what they're bringing to the table right now.
I think it's cool.
That could be a totally like nerve wracking moment. And you got the camera on you. You've never done that. She waved. He was like dancing. It's cool.
Yeah. This guy is terrified.
I'm actually like pretty fit. I gotta do this for real.
Yeah. He's like, oh shit.
I come every day at 5:15. I'm killing it. It's my opportunity.
One shot.
I just had a client text me and say, I will be disciplined in transitions and pick up the bar before I want to.
Let's
There you
go.
There you go.
I think they're on the chat. I like how he didn't respond via our chat, but just texted me it.
I actually
You're in the
turned
chat.
my notifications off on my phone and put my phone on silent as soon as I got the text that the workout was leaked
That's good.
because I
That's
just didn't
smart.
want to hear it.
I'm not as popular as you. No one texted me. That I was in the dark.
You were napping. You were hibernating.
I kind of wish it wasn't thrusters and pull-ups though, only because it's gonna always be like, oh, thrusters and pull-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's classic, man. It's a game of
wish it-
tradition.
Wasn't
that's true.
thrusters
That's
and
fair. You know
pull-ups.
what? I like that.
It's gonna hurt like hell.
Thank you, Harley. Game of tradition. I like it. It's good. All right, this girl is killing it. Right?
Dude, crush those chest to bars.
Yeah.
She's going. See, that's 65. No thing. I mean, they look pretty good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she looks really smooth.
What is training going to look like now that we know all the workouts and we got a couple of weeks before quarters for everybody?
We know all the quarterfinals workouts too.
No.
Sick.
I'm just saying like
Everything's leaked.
Just great, maybe.
He was like, wait a second.
What else did I miss?
The
just
internet
like
might
just a ton
explode.
of strength.
I mean, yeah, lots of skills too.
Yeah.
She did those unbroken again.
Pullovers and crossovers every single day.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I don't-
Harley, if
Unless
there's
you're really good.
pullovers and quarters, I'm gonna rage.
Why? What about it?
I just don't think
Probably
it
gonna-
belongs in
It gotta
quarters
be
yet.
in quarters.
I don't
I'm
think
not
they're
going to make a
gonna-
statement that anything has to be anywhere, but I'm just nothing surprises me anymore.
I mean, fair.
It's easy to judge.
Yeah, it's very clear. You either do them or you don't.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, froze again. Oh, there.
No, it's gone.
And what's interesting, if we start talking about the conversation of accessibility, like I would argue that a lot more people who have like a strict pull up, because it comes back to our previous conversation, can get a pullover and figure it out
Yeah.
before they're going to do a bar muscle up.
Yeah.
So if you want to start talking about like a skill that will create separation for the people who are great at it and the people who can just do one or two, more people are likely to be able to do one or two.
Yep. What if this was pullovers instead of bar muscle ups? How would you feel about that?
Me
You're
or
asking
Harley?
me or Tristan?
Anybody?
Anybody.
I would hate it
Why
personally.
would you hate it?
So not to go completely off subject. When I think of movements that belong in testing competition workouts, like workouts that are tests, I imagine a wind tunnel, and down that tunnel is fitness. Like that's what's flowing through this tunnel. You can drop anything you want in that tunnel, but depending on the movement you drop in there, some things just go right along with it, and they're beautiful. Thrusters and pull-ups, running, burpees, snatches, clean and jerks, those things. I think there's other movements that when you drop in there, they're like gum or oil or goo, and they gum up the ability to express fitness too much. And I think some of them, and obviously this is a little dependent on the level of an athlete that you're at and the stage you're testing, but I think in the last 2 years, we have seen movements that I think, except for at the CrossFit Games, gum up the funnel of testing fitness too much. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely with the level of athlete that you're testing and what stage you're testing at. I think that was actually a really good uh, qualifying statement that made it like a legitimate argument, right? Because the better someone is at any given skill, the more fitness you're going to get out of it along the way, right?
Right.
Like someone's phenomenal at handstand walking, throw some pirouettes in there, throw some overhead squats, throw some legless rope climb. Even though some people reach failure in that seated legless rope climb at semifinals, the people who went fast, like they were expressing so much fitness, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you either had the skill or you didn't. So for the people who didn't have the skill, they maybe didn't feel limited by their actual fitness, but their ability to just move continuously. So we actually did a team workout yesterday that when we watched the live stream, like half the field couldn't do, you know, the skills that were between the worm and the burpees. And so like tons of people just got capped, and we fortunately didn't, but it was because we just could do the skills. So we actually were able to express more fitness because we could do the things. But I bet the other teams that basically got stuck on handstand push-ups or rope climbs were just sitting there just like, well, I feel silly now. I didn't even get challenged from a fitness and capacity standpoint.
Right. And I mean, it's okay to have workouts with like movements that are limiters, like that are going to slow you down and test your skill or your coordination or something like that. I mean, I wrote a couple workouts for Madison with pullovers under fatigue, like a lot of fatigue, because she's an ex-gymnast. So it's like she can just go smash those and we can touch that just in case, right? But for a lot of athletes, that's still not something that we do under a ton of intensity.
Right.
So.
Like I've given it to a lot of people in literally like sets of 1 to 3 based on their ability to link, you know, reps, and with 2 minutes of rest in a strength and quality setting. Right. Just in case it comes up.
I have a follow-up question now then with all that you guys have set the standard of. Do you believe then with the wind tunnel of fitness analogy, which I've never heard that before.
It's literally how I see it in my mind.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It makes sense to me. It may not make sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to me. But like if you're just flowing everything down the fitness tunnel, right? Could you take what you deem really flowing fitness movements and keep that as a movement selection category, and then over here isolate skills and drills and I don't know, L-sit, legless rope climbs, pirouettes, handstand walks over the ramp, bar pullovers, anything weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Never mix them. Do you think that the fitness could carry it in the capacity, or do you think like you have to train them quote unquote under fatigue, as people say?
So are you asking, like, if you never mix them, if you just did pure CrossFit, would you get better at like L-sit, seated legless rope?
No, you train them by themselves under no duress and develop the skill and capacity on its own with quality and speed, but no interfering effects. And then you just train all your fitness stuff on the other end. Do you think you could then take that person and put them in a setting where it's thrusters and bar pullovers and they'd be totally fine because they've been doing thrusters and toes to bar or thrusters and chest to bar?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I think that
absolutely
you have to, over time, progress them to interference, but you have to at least establish a base of control, awareness, and coordination in a controlled setting.
Right. The more fatigue there is, the more neuromuscular coordination goes down. That's why both those dudes just power clean that instead of squat cleaning it. Right. So it's the same concept. You have to have like the higher level degree of mastery you have over a skill or a movement out of fatigue will translate to an extent in a mixed modal setting. But that's why CrossFit is CrossFit, because I mean nothing hits like the sauce, right? Like that triplet mixed modal row bar muscle up thruster or run bar muscle up thruster, like there's no stimulus like that.
Right.
So I think you do have to, like, graded exposure over time, blend those things together.
So I'm just thinking about the wind tunnel, and I'm now changing your wind tunnel to a funnel. And I think the open starts narrow, and then the games is the widest end of the funnel.
Correct.
So if you have a very viscous sort of fluid flowing through your funnel, it's going to get trapped up in that narrowest end of it, right? So we need the open to be lower buried entry, lighter weight, faster turnover reps, higher capacity tests. And then as you get out to the games, that's where we can throw, bottleneck style skills that in a mixed setting are able to actually be expressed at a high level of fitness, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that it's probably more of like a funnel than a wind tunnel in my mind, the way I'm looking at it, getting wider and more broad in the testing body as you go down.
I think that's a perfect way to think about it, because the higher you get, the more things are on the table. I think it's also good to have, like, I'm a big fan of the gymnastics bottlenecks we've seen in quarterfinals the last 2 years, personally, because it is a form of testing capacity under fatigue, right?
I would call it skill endurance. It's like skill capacity under fatigue. It's who can do the thing when really tired, and obviously the best will stand out.
Right. I've always thought it's interesting. I'm sure you've done this before, Todd, too. Like a workout like this, had your athlete do a workout like this and then have them do like 10 rounds, 5 and 5, almost like a merry-go-round style workout where it's super small rep scheme, higher reps or lower reps, and then have them do the inverse where it's just like a massive chipper.
Yeah.
Like 35 bar muscle ups, 35 thrusters, 50 chest to bar, 50 thrusters, right? And see the difference in their, like, where they fall apart.
Yeah, and their scores based on some people can just handle the same movement pattern over. They're more enduring, is what I'd say.
Yeah,
they're more enduring for the same repetitive movement pattern over and over and over. Whereas some people, because they don't need that reprieve,
right?
They don't, and then like if they have a reprieve, they don't do as well, or they're just super fit and they do well both. Because it's easier to take somebody who's very good at like can do like, let's say 30 thrusters, 30 bar muscle ups or whatever, 30 thrusters, 30 chest to bar. It's easier to take that person and make them better at 5 rounds versus the person who's really good at 5 rounds and get them better at 30 and 30.
100%. I agree.
So it's good to like figure out what person that is. So then that way you can make better training programs so they can not suck.
Is he doing singles? Sorry,
I think
just
so, yeah.
That's tough.
This girl's hurting. She needs to go though, because she's doing well.
What's the clock at? Do we know? Can't see it.
Trying to scroll up a little bit.
Oh, 11:36.
11:36.
Dude, clusters is rough.
It's heavy.
I know it is. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying just to be at that point, man.
She proved me.
Bar muscle ups look good.
Yeah.
She just looks out of breath. Ooh.
Yeah. She's doing, decently good sets on the thrusters too. Because I think the thruster is heavier for the guys than it is for the women across the board.
I wonder if it's heavier or if we just have to move it further a little bit on average.
I mean, it's heavier. But
It's heavier.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. All right, guys. All right.
I think it's a combination of both, right? Because like force, like times distance divided by time. So like, yeah, you're right. But also the piece of it too of like, even though we're saying like male, female, it's something to look at. Like women are, yes, significantly weaker in tensile strength than men. Like that's been proven through science. But when you just like take a machine and an object and you try to move them, it's like, okay, well, how would you equate the foot-pounds of pressure that a male muscle could produce versus a female muscle? And that's what's crazy about the loading thing. When people get into this conversation about loading, it's like we have no clue. Like they're all theoretical models and they're tested inside of things that like I think there's probably people, exercise scientists who want to become doctors of exercise scientists could probably do a lot of like research study on this and become a doctor that way. Because there's so much to do on like force production and range of motion and mechanical tension. Like it's super interesting.
Well, there's so many variables too that play in real time. It's like, hey, your force production is this from a like nerve says go, muscle pull.
Yeah.
But then like just sprinkle in a little lack of oxygen there and see what happens, right? And like it changes everything.
Well,
there's so much of that.
It just dumbs down the substrates.
Yeah.
This thing, man. Oh, oxygen. People don't realize You lose some of that.
You
Your
said
whole
it dumbs down the substrates, or does it augment and like amplify the concentration of substrates?
can and it cannot, right? So like if you lose oxygen, it dumbs down the ability to turn over energy because you need oxygen to create those
Yes.
Yeah.
the bonds and processes. So like it could dumb it down, it could amplify it. Really,
I
that's
think it's
hard to
probably both
yeah, it
I
depends
think
on
it's both simultaneously on opposite ends of the cycles.
because you're getting lactate produced, you're losing oxygen, you're getting other metabolites and all that junk that I'm gonna feel in my legs in an hour and a half.
yeah, this girl's wobbling.
Can anyone recite the Krebs cycle to me?
No.
That's why we're so dumb here in Colorado.
Me too.
The lack of oxygen. I mean, sometimes it's a good thing. Not for CrossFit though. Or something.
Oh, almost done.
Oh man, come on.
Yeah. Oh, she's not making
Oh,
4
yeah.
reps in 10 seconds.
She came out too hot, I think.
I don't. Is this her last round or is it her 4th round?
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's
It's their 4th round.
Oh,
yeah. Nice.
oh, she was close. So she had one more round.
Yeah, she had one more round.
Woo. She was doing good, people. If you are a pretty good athlete and you can do bar muscle ups, that's probably a good depiction of where you're going to fall.
So what do we think? What do we think the percentiles are going to fall? Let's say 75th, 90, and then whatever.
3 rounds plus of for the 25%, 3 rounds plus of the bar muscle up one.
I think that's aggressive.
I think
Really?
that's aggressive too.
I think that's really aggressive. I think there are
I think that is
far,
aggressive.
far more people who are not going to be able to do the bar
After
muscle-ups under
50
that
chest to
fatigue.
bar?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like 3 thrusters into the second round.
Right. Like it's the people they're going to chip their way through 7 bar muscle ups one at a time.
Yeah.
And then they're going to get like some more thrusters.
Yeah.
That's my guess. And I think it's more because the people who know they're not good at bar muscle ups are probably going to really pace the.
Yeah, I'm stupid. This girl, apparently it's Rachel Skinner, who was 219th in the Northeast last year in
So
quarterfinals.
she's legit.
Yeah,
yeah.
she's good.
So there you go. Oops.
That does not give me inspiration.
But
Yeah.
45%.
I think she's too hyped. I think she probably was just adrenaline, came out hot, and then exploded.
Yeah, because
If she
looked
just
like
paced it
was
differently, she probably
falling
could have done
apart
better.
at the end. Yeah.
Comes back to that idea that we talked
Yeah,
about,
but
just
she's-
the first
she's
5
still-
rounds.
It's her. This is
Chilling.
Versus bringing us the stats.
Oh wow,
This is what she is in the open curve.
love that analyst.
She probably got hurt, or maybe she's having a baby. Who knows?
Yeah. I guess, what do we think? So top 10%. I mean, I guess
Doesn't matter. Not even a thing. It's 25,
quitter.
25, or that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's very true.
Oh yeah, 10%. Probably what she just got.
Potentially.
Probably.
I mean, 21 bar muscle ups is
It's a
not
good bit.
not hard.
It's not hard if you got them.
Right.
If you don't, it is.
Right.
That's why I'm saying 10%. I feel like a lot of 10% people can do.
I agree.
It's like the 50 chest to bar. Let's be real. Like it's gonna hurt and it's gonna be hard, but like that's pretty manageable for a lot of people who train CrossFit. Pretty
That's a
very
10.
Yeah, and you're doing. Let's say you do 90 minutes a day, and you're a gym goer, and you're doing some extra credit. You've been doing it for a while because that's who the top 10% people are, anyways. Let's be real. Like they're
Yeah.
the people who are not highly competitive, but take it more serious, making sure they're doing their stuff. They try to recover. Maybe they got a cold plunge at their house and hanging out.
Is
And-
that the secret?
And they're
I need a cold plunge.
I'm just saying they're into it. They're into it. The
Go
top
go
10%.
lay in the snow.
Ay. I want you to go to the gym tomorrow.
It's
Harp,
on you. I did that earlier.
after the snow is gone, and like find out everybody who's top 10% and do behavioral analysis of their lifestyle guidelines and see if I'm wrong.
Do I have to?
No,
Do I have to?
Josh, were you top 10% last year? Make a comment. Let me know. If you were not, it's probably because you don't have a cold plunge.
Or a sauna.
He's been doing sauna at my house, so he's gonna definitely be 10%
There it
this year.
is.
He did it like 3 times this off season.
No, he was not 10%. He says so.
Correct.
There you go, dude.
There you go. That's what you need.
No, that's not what you need. It's the general thought of like, who is that avatar? Who is that person, right?
Right.
'Cause every person I've met that's in the 90 and up percent, like 90th percentile of the CrossFit Open, it's like, yeah, they eat real whole food. They come to class all the time. They work on their skills. They're really dialed in of like, well, I'm not very good at that. How do I get better at that? And then they spend time working on it. And, they forego some other things because they like it as their hobby. And they're not typically like, I don't want to hate on people, but like watching on Netflix or like doing this or going to their friend's thing or walking their dog on the canal. It's like they're running their dog on the canal because they want to improve their mile time. Like it's just a different thought process. And when you start
I
talking,
feel like you're describing everything that CJ and I do.
that's why you're in the top 10%.
No. We just go live life and walk our dogs. And like,
That is not true. Do not lie to the world right
Yeah.
now.
False.
Oh, you do walk your dogs because you got a little wiener dog. He don't go no fast.
I don't walk the dog. CJ does because she's fit and I'm not.
All right. Thank you for being honest.
So
That's facts.
do
Here
we
we
think Ariel is about to just spank these boys in this
Oh.
workout?
I hope so. That garage gym mom.
She's a monster, dude.
I think Ariel's going to smoke. Is it Brooke or Sydney?
Sydney.
Sydney. Oh, Sydney's going to have a hard time in comparison to Brooke or Ariel.
This is funny.
I can't get 2%.
400 deadlifts in the open. It was only 100.
In Josh's defense, he has some back issues that are reoccurring, but he's
Uh,
more resilient this year than he was 2 years ago. So
He's a good sport. He's putting the comments. I appreciate it. He's gonna get a cold plunge though.
You need one.
you
in
heard it here
Colorado?
first. Josh?
If anybody's
Dra-
wondering, she did that round in 35 seconds.
Yeah.
Mm.
She's
So if anyone wants a
Somebody Google
pacing
it.
strategy,
Somebody look this guy up right now on the.
dude, heck yeah. I hate garbage. Don't go.
Ask me anything.
Yeah.
Get him on
Danny-
the pod.
Danny's the client that texted me a second ago. I said he wasn't in the chat, and now he is.
Nice.
Dang.
Good.
Yeah.
Josh Foley.
I will be ripping at these bar muscles.
Yeah, he's gonna be ripping to these bar muscles.
Same, brother. Same.
Just make sure your hands are super wide, like Ariel Owens,
She's moving.
on everything too.
She's going so fast.
Who here can take up an entire spiel bar with their pull-up grip?
Roman Klerenikov could. Look at him.
Yeah, he's almost doing it right there.
Shorten
It's
that
one-
range of motion. Let's go.
It's only 6 feet, and then with the little spiel triangle, it's actually less because that takes up what do you
Yeah.
think? 6 inches. So we're looking at 5 feet 6 inches. It's not a pretty big. I bet Harley could do it.
I can. I've done it
Oh,
as a joke, purely as a joke.
Marissa with all these stats.
yeah,
over
she's
here.
coming in.
Love it.
That's right. It's true.
Squatting and gymnastics. Yeah. I would have really enjoyed to see her and Tia do this.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's fun.
that would have been really cool.
Tia would have never let her win though.
I don't think so either.
You think Sydney's letting her win?
No.
Oh, let's not even talk about them
Just
bringing
kidding,
in
just
Sydney.
I think Jay Crouch just realized he's getting dragged into deep waters with Ariel Owen.
Yeah.
The way he stepped back to that pull-up bar.
Love it.
He's got to represent.
He's
that
a
body language is awesome.
That's 5.
I know, but just
Hey,
look at that
Two,
good posture.
what 230, 239 was 5 for Ariel.
yeah. That's
Golly.
disgusting.
That's sick.
239 was her 5 round time.
Mhm. And then
Dang.
Roman's gonna come in
Sydney
here
just about finished.
at
30 minutes.
320,
It's not bad. He's a tall guy.
322. Yeah, I mean, in my rough math, I was like, a
He's a
chill
giant.
Fran is 330.
Yeah.
He's
That's not
barely
chill. That's not chill at all.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know. I think Ariel would have given it Tia a run for money. I would agree with you, but the problem is I think when Tia talks, it sounds like bah. And She's just can't bet against her.
Can't bet against stupid is what he's saying. Tia is something
no.
else, man. Her mind, she won't. I don't know. It's hard to say, but in this setting with a lot of people and just everything around her and how the pundits and everything, like she can't lose.
I mean, Ariel has beaten her in a workout before.
Yeah.
So like, but
It's not impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible.
it's not probable.
Listen, if Tia doesn't win this year, it's not going to be a good look for moms, you know?
Sydney's
right?
not
Tia doesn't
that
win?
far behind Ariel.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, if Tia doesn't win.
Oh,
She got to prove it. She got to prove to people that
that's true.
Well, Sydney's lucky these aren't ring muscle ups. So
Dude, this makes me happy. We're so excited. for this
Harley,
weekend.
I agree with you, but let's be nice. Okay.
So
I'm
I'm
not trying to
competing
be mean.
in a local partner
Just
comp next
analyzing.
weekend, and Ariel is competing at it too.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
It's gonna be fun.
I think I'm gonna be aiming to finish my first 5 rounds
that 5
somewhere
minutes.
around right here. Yeah.
Me too. That was my whole plan. Even 6 minutes. Just a nice, luxurious 6 minutes.
Easy stroll.
Yeah.
Todd,
Getting under the time cap, like you just
we're
25%.
this week's our tiebreaker, brother.
That's true. I got sick though.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, don't make excuses.
Dang.
I mean, I'm gonna give my best, but
yeah, but
let's be real.
yeah. This is not a workout to do recovering after being sick.
Just wait till Monday. You'll be fine, Todd.
My muscles are gonna
What's that?
feel like chewed up gum. That's the problem with getting like kind of like flu sick. Your body just feels like soft.
Sydney took a big rest break. Did Ariel take a big rest break before she started the thrusters?
A little bit. Sydney's breaking through the bar muscle ups.
Ah,
It's pretty
I love
straightforward. I
Ariel.
really like this workout.
textbook.
Kind of well without the thrusters. You know what they should have did was just what's it called? The 21-15-9 complex from the CrossFit games.
Oh, with the deadlifts and snatches?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Or are you
with-
thinking the triangle couplet?
no, with the deadlift, the snatch. Yeah, deadlift and snatch. And then there's like pull up, chest to bar muscle up.
Mm-hmm.
It's
We're
fun.
talking about from 14.
Yeah, 2014.
21-15-9 complex.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
fun.
that was a cool workout.
I mean, we already did those movements, but I'm just saying, like,
Would be cool to.
it makes me feel the same way because you see them doing the chest to bar and then the bar muscle ups and the rounds and stuff. Because that was like, was it 5 rounds or 3 rounds? But it was weird.
3 rounds.
12, 9, 6, and then 9, 6, 3, and then 5.
I don't
whatever.
think we're seeing. I mean, we might see somebody go low 7s, but they're not even close to being done.
Right.
Yeah, I've really slowed them down.
They got a whole nother round. I mean, they came out hot.
Well, yeah, because 2:39 plus the 1 minute, so 3:39.
So they've been on this for
Ariel on right now.
4 minutes already.
Yeah,
What do you think is a reasonable pace for someone who wants to finish in general? And then think of like that next tier up. So someone who knows they can finish, but wants to be a little bit more competitive. And then obviously we're seeing games athletes, but like aspiring semifinal.
I think you're gonna want to figure out how to cluster the work. So like do the 10 thrusters. Like if you're aspiring semifinal, do the 10 thrusters. Figure out where your rest interval is going to be. Do the 10 chest to bar. What's your rest interval? And like cluster the work that way, and then break it down into the time that you're looking at.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have like relatively like a rough idea of where you want to be and how you want to move through each round. And I think you lackadaisically almost do the first 5 rounds.
Yeah, because they're dying right now. That was a bad choice. Like, I mean, it was cool that they went that fast, but
I mean, they're fit enough to suffer through it, but like
But like when you do a workout, like I think they're at that point where you do a workout right now and you're like, I'm fucking killing it. And then you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
went too hard. And you're
Yeah.
like, well, I'll be okay because like I'm pretty fit and I'll make it through the rest of this. And then you like come up with a game plan in your mind to just chip through the thing and finish the work. I think that's what happened to most.
Dang, Jay Crouch just did 5.2.
Yeah. I think that's what happened. They're just like, oh no.
They're so hot.
Josh Foley said tasting color fast. That's an amazing analogy.
I mean, 920?
920.
Wow.
This is the question of the day. As fast as you effing can.
Yeah,
Sydney caught
teams
back up
kind
to
of
Ariel though.
crazy in the Open this year.
Like you have nothing to live for other than this workout. Like that's how fast you gotta go.
I mean, it's almost one of those ones, like you can't say the 5 rounds is a buy-in, but the first 5, but it's like, if you do this right, you should feel relatively okay
No rep for Ariel.
when you finish the 5. And then you should attack the next 5 and you should be like seeing
Bleeding from your
sound.
eyes.
Yeah, it should be like seeing sound by the time you finish.
Yeah, you should not look like what's Sydney Wells right now. You went too fast.
Yeah. I mean, I bet they would all say that. I bet they'd probably be like, yeah, we all came out way too hot.
She only got 2 more to go. That was a whole 12-second rest.
Yeah.
Listen,
Oh,
Yeah, that's cool.
okay.
I mean, yeah, she only was 2 reps behind,
Mhm.
which is crazy.
so I think my goal is to finish.
Yeah.
10:39 is
I think that's my
the
goal.
slowest of
Yeah,
the
if there's
announcement.
another 4 minutes, Tristan, that you could use. You'll be fine.
Dang.
I did
I think we're looking
do
at like 12:30 to 13 minutes for like that semifinal range.
semifinal athletes. I would say so.
Yeah. For sure.
I did sets of 8 bar
Oh,
muscle ups
no,
on
I think
Tuesday,
they went
and
too
felt real
hard.
good.
I think it's faster than that. I think they went too hard in the first spot and are probably like, oh man, if I
Hockey.
did it again, I would go a little slower.
So you think 11:30 to 12:30, like a minute faster than what he said?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's 10 or 9 minutes respectively of work. 9.5, right? 10.5. So
Yeah, it took them, 7 minutes to do that?
Yeah,
Back half?
yeah, they went way too hot.
yeah. Oh boy.
I mean, it's cool that they went hot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, Roman was done in what, 3:30 ish?
Yeah.
Correct. And
Mhm.
then minute rest 4:30. And what was his total time? Does anyone know?
No, I didn't see when he finished.
It was somewhere around 10. So it took him 5.5 minutes to do that back half.
That makes more sense.
That makes more sense.
I think, I mean, if you care, well, the teams have to probably do this twice.
10:06 for Roman. Whew.
Yeah, I think coming in and like doing it right out the gate and just doing a walking pace on like teams. Anybody's trying to go team, a walking pace and find out what that pace like really is,
Yeah.
because it's going to be tough. But the individuals who are just trying to get into quarters, you literally just have to finish the workout. If you finish the workout, you're 100% going to quarterfinals.
Like
feel like
easily.
I feel like if you finish this, you're going to be in like the 95th.
Yeah, that's what I'm
percentile.
saying. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
nothing to worry about.
I bet if you finish this week, it would make up for any buffer and mess ups you had from weeks 1 and 2.
Oh yeah,
Like
you can,
it would pull you in like no problem at all
Yeah.
as an individual.
yeah, you can 100% smash this workout and drive your name up the leaderboard.
Mhm.
Huge.
All right, squad. I got to get off of here and go warm up.
Okay, good luck.
Ooh, good
Sub-
luck.
Do it.
Thanks, guys. If you
See
want
ya. Have
to
a
watch
good one.
me have a nuclear meltdown, Ascend Athlete on YouTube.
You're
It'll be it'll be live.
go
All
slow.
right, guys.
Nice.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Yep.
Josh Foley with the Dumb and Dumber reference here.
Well, we're in Colorado. We have to.
Oh, that's fair.
Dang, I have a chance.
We live right down the road where women flow like beer on tap.
All right.
Well, CrossFit.
Yeah.
When was the last, aside from 22, was there another year that they didn't retest something? And aside from obviously like 11 and 12.
Were we just saying 21?
No, 22, they didn't retest anything.
Yeah.
Which Harley already said. But I think there's one other year that they didn't have a retest. But
Yep.
the years when they had 5 workouts, it was too easy to like not have like it's easy to have a retest, you know?
Easy to throw
Yeah,
one in
for
there.
sure.
Yeah. I think if anything, it might be the 2020 year that there was no retest.
No, they did the Diane one.
True. Yeah, so 2022 was the only year.
Correct. Sounds fun.
Dude, yeah. That costs
Making
something.
history. Another year of no retests.
Would this been more exciting if there wasn't a leak?
No.
Oh,
I
I feel like it would have been. I feel like, oh,
How do you feel about 3 scores versus 4 scores? Because 22 was 3 scores. Last year was 4 scores. 21 was 4 scores. So they're kind of like alternating years now. They're creating this pattern. Do you think that there needs to be a 4th score?
no.
I don't think so either.
25%.
For top 25. No.
No.
Yeah. I think that the only people that are not negatively impacted by this, but they are definitely like it's a factor is the team. I think an extra score for teams would have shaken up the leaderboard a little bit more, which would have made it more exciting. But that said, like it's the fittest affiliate. So like there's always going to be outliers.
Yeah. I would have liked no, actually I like it all. Never mind. I
What
think
were you
that's
gonna
my
say?
workouts. I don't know. I just think because there was like a lot, I think people may have just messed up the first workout. Like, and I'm talking specifically like in the bubble realm, like people who are, let's say 100 to 400 fittest in their region.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of those people kind of messed up. Like they're normally that rank, and then this second week showed that they are that rank. And a lot of people were like 900 or 1,000, or like even Travis Mayer. And I think there's just like a lot of misunderstanding of like yourself, how to move, the open itself, and like who's in the open versus then people will go down the rabbit hole of like, well, I'm not fit. There's all these people. It's like, well, it's a huge net of people. You don't know what the quality of their movement is. You also like, I watched a lot of athletes not stay hunched over the dumbbell and like knuckle drag across. Poor misunderstanding of what's possible and thinking that like 730 is too fast. It's like, I don't know. And then you see all these people like 730. Just like a lot of that stuff. But I think it was cool to see, especially when you look at the old journal or the .com workouts back in the day. Like it can't get any more CrossFit than those first 2 workouts, which are metabolic conditioning, first.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, the skill of the bar muscle. But I would even say like Harley was talking about, the sport of tradition, like thrusters and pull-ups. That's always going to be the staple of CrossFit. So like if you think about squat pattern, like the thruster self, squat with press, and then a pull. If you get really good at pulling, squatting, and pressing at high intensity, you'd be pretty good at CrossFit overall.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we were talking about the skills and stuff, but I like the way they're doing the open, and like if they continue to do it this way, I think it's going to help shape a lot of people's fitness in a positive sense. Because like Tristan was saying about like the fitness tunnel, and you start out with just like getting people to move really, really fast and aerobically and metabolically under, the movements that are quote unquote easier and don't give anybody any hangups. You teach them how to be really regular and consistent, and it's more cyclical in nature, which then gives them a bigger base to thrive when you start teaching them better Olympic lifting, better gymnastics movements. And you're going to just see the evolution of CrossFit. Whereas historically, I just don't think there was like that train of thought, or I'm just thinking too deep into it and it doesn't even matter. And they're just throwing CrossFit at us and I'm stupid. I don't know. I like it though. The open is now over, people.
Well, almost.
I mean, you gotta do the workout.
Too much.
It's over. On to quarterfinals. Any closing thoughts? cluster setting, the work, slowing down the first portion. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Scores are made in the back half.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to come in.
Be calm.
Make your move in the back half.
That's pretty much all I got.
Well, yeah, because even if you do 4 minutes on the front half,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I need to, like, if I'm thinking about it for my own performance, it would be 4 minutes. And if Roman's doing it in 3:30, I'm like, 4 is even hot, you know? So starting the second half around the 5-minute mark and then trying to essentially as close to Imam it as possible. So like then you'd be 11 minutes. Like 11 if you did slower than Imam, right? That'd be a 6-minute round, which is still slower than what Roman did, because I'm not going to look at anything Roman does and be like, I can hold that pace, because that would be stupid. But I think that truly, if you're moving and you pace the first half well, you should be able to like make up and stay consistent in the back half if you have the ability of sets of 7 on the bar muscle up and for that load on the thruster. Even we saw the best in the world have to break. So even if you have to break, like, just stay disciplined, have a count in your head, stay present, have your judge count you down, have a friend count you down. And, you know, you're only going to have 2 or 3 more reps after that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the scores are, because I think they died. A lot of them died. I don't know if that's a representation of what they could actually like do, like what some of these really fit people are going to do. I'll be interested to see like some of the other training companies put out their media with their athletes and see what people get, because I have a strong feeling like 9 minutes is going to be like that average score at the top end of people who are within like 200 in their region.
I wouldn't be surprised if sub 10 is a pretty standard goal for a lot of high level people.
That's what I mean. I think
I agree.
The final people, it's like 9 to 10 minutes, like under that. Because I can even do the math. Like if you pace it out, like 4 minutes, you can. Most athletes who have a, let's say 2:30 Fran time, that's death. Let's say we push that out to 4 minutes and give them some extra time. Because we're gonna just omit that the chest to bar, or you could look at NCC, because they did chest to bar Fran.
Yeah.
And the NorCal Classic, and look at those times of those athletes and take the average time. And it's, you know, going to be even at 4 minutes, then the 1 minute rest, you're at the 5-minute mark when you start your stuff. There's nothing to say that you can't do the 35 thrusters and 35 barbell subs in the 5 minutes.
Luis Oscar Mora at NCC, I think that's who it was, did like a 2:14, 1:15 in chest to bar Fran.
Oh, dang.
It was wild.
Yeah. See,
when it was reverse chest,
and it was reverse. It was 9:15, 21.
Yeah.
It got longer as he went. It was wild. Very impressive.
So what is the thoughts about quarters now? Because we have all of our athletes are going in the quarters. No inversion so far. No shoulder overhead so far. No heavy lifts so far. The CrossFit itself is probably going to stay very similar.
What do you guys think about creating separation value in the heavier event with an ascending overhead squat style workout? Because then it challenges range of motion, stability, as well as strength endurance, etc. And if you did it progressive in nature, then it'd be accessible to all age groups. That would create a big separator.
Yeah, that's tough. So much to train for.
Just overhead. We need to train for overhead.
Yeah.
And hella fitness.
rope climbs, handstand walks. I feel like those are traditionally.
Do you also feel like the open workouts have a similar feel? And there's obviously less of them, but the cascade of the way that they came out and the way that they work as last year's quarterfinals workouts for the individuals.
What do you mean?
Like, so the dumbbell snatch crossover workout is like,
yeah, but that wasn't number one.
It doesn't matter.
Number one was the handstand.
I understand that there's more workouts in quarters than there are in the open, so you have to omit some of that. And then the rowing and workout rowing in the deadlift and the double under workout, and then the bar muscle up, deadlift, rope climb workout. Like a similar feel of like fitness. Or no, you disagree. You can disagree with it. It's fine. I just feel like
What I find interesting in thinking about last year's quarterfinals workouts from a rowing standpoint, specifically, like they both were 20-minute time domains with rowing for meters. That's definitely carryover, right? I think that it's interesting that the row pace
volume is, when you get down to it, is the same.
Yeah, very similar. The rowing wasn't the separator. Obviously, they're both meters, and we already know that rowing for meters is less sort of detrimental from a scoring perspective than rowing for calories. But are we now looking at rowing as like, oh, it's just who can have the highest sustainable output and then still express their fitness in the other movements tested? Because that's really what like this week or last week's open workout was, and last year's quarterfinals. It was really who had the best midline endurance while holding the pace, not the fastest pace, but like the pace is then
Right, the total pace,
right.
not like just the pace on the rower, like the total round
Mhm.
pace.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like who had the double under capacity
Mm-hmm.
and the total pace is last week's workout. So that's an interesting theme for the 20-minute tests that definitely carried over.
Yeah, I mean, it was similar with the age groups with the shuttle run, double under rowing workout that was descending for them of like 1,000, 750, 500, 250. And then like it was more about who could run a little faster on the shuttles and hold on to the double unders, because everybody was kind of rowing at the same pace. And like if you're a bad rower, you could kind of make it up and catch up to somebody, but then you'd still lose them again on the double unders and the shuttles. Even if you like caught up a little bit, you still have to push on the dubs and shuttles. So yeah, I think, I mean, what you're getting at is just saying that they're leaning away from rowing being such a huge endurance piece of CrossFit. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Or like a huge separator. It's
Yeah.
no longer like the defining thing, because if you think about like
Fixed.
18-1, 19-1, you could break the wall balls in 19-1. In 18-1, everything was so short you had to go unbroken and transition fast, but then it came down to who could hold the highest cal per hour. Right. Like it was truly separated by the rower. And I think that they're moving away from using the rower as the separator and using the transitions and the fitness and the discipline and the other stuff, proficiency and other stuff.
No, I agree with that, because like they're realizing that similar to 400-meter runners, everybody's running the same 400. It's who's going to have the best day on that day and run that 1 second faster. Like you watch Cole Mearns and everybody row at 148, and the only time they kicked it up was in the end there, right? So same thing with Taylor Self and Jason Hopper. They're all rowing at a 148 the whole workout, and that's like the pace. And if you can hold the pace, and then like you're saying, Harley, you have midline endurance and you can do the double unders and hold the total round pace, you're going to get a good score. And it comes down more to the transitions and your ability in the other movements than it does actually being on the rower. Like it's like a ticket to play if you can row the rowing pace, but they're never going to force that rowing pace. And there may be something to that thought process because of the fixed rowing pace
on Jackie Pro.
Yep. Yeah, at the games.
And then in 2020, they sort of like established what that rowing pace was off of the 1K row for time. They had a bunch of data points that came out of the 2020 games. A lot of people were striving for that sub 3. So they're like, all right, sweet. Well, we're going to pull that back for the men to 3:15, knowing that all of our men in the games level, of the sport can hold this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, Dave's a lot more calculated than people think.
I agree.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Dave's not dumb, even though his announcements are. I'm just kidding. His announcements are great. There's so much buy-in. His explanations are a little off.
No, it's whatever. It's exciting.
It gets the people going. It's provocative.
Gets the people going.
Yeah. All right. Well, we also had no like cleans. So cleans it is this year.
I hate cleans for the separator of lift because of last year's semifinal experience. Watching people fail 205 cleans snatches was just disheartening.
Yeah, I hate having snatch at a large participatory thing. It's just too much.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be like the heaviest thing, but it needs to be a moderate snatch to create separation of the people who can do it or can't, because I still think it's valid within the scope of the sport.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can still integrate it in. I'm just saying, I think
It doesn't need to be a winner max by any means.
Yeah, that's the thing about like semifinals last year that I didn't like. And I've for a while now, for probably the past 2-3 years, I've just disliked snatch, clean, and jerk in CrossFit as a test, because even like Hiller posted the other day, and then Kyle Habdo and I are talking about it, because Training Think Tank put up like the strength metrics that they pulled from all the stuff that it was good. And Kyle and I were talking about it, and like, you know, the 275 snatch is still kind of like, for men, that's where most men fall in a snatch in the sport. And there's obviously outliers, and people are going to argue, well, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, most men snatch 275 and most women snatch 185, you know, and there's like a plus or minus from there, but it hasn't gone up exponentially, because other than the women's numbers are just skyrocketing. But the men from 2014 and then the TTT article that they wrote are almost identical. It's like literally like a almost 2.5 to 5% increase on all the lifts when you look through it. And so for that, it's kind of like, well, are the demands of everything else too much of a concurrent effect that you'll never really see these strength adaptations get higher because of the demands of everything else? And are the women's numbers only going up because, you know, people hate to talk about this, but like, women did not lift weights. This is a new thing of women lifting weights in the last 20 years. Like, there are a lot more women lifting weights, and we're seeing what's possible with females. And that's why the numbers are going up, is because the exposure and the culture and the opportunity, which is amazing. But it's probably going to level off just like the men, which it looks like it kind of has. So because of all that, I'm just like, well, we know what they can lift. So like, do we always need to test it? And then how dangerous is it to test it? Because there are more injuries in the last 2-3 years on these athletes in those lifts than there has been historically.
Yeah.
And I just think it's too much. We're trying to do too much on the body. So I'd rather, like Harley's argument, be a moderate heavy barbell, like 225 snatch for like reps, like we did with the masters, and like a 145 for women, and just let them rip it.
Yeah, because the fittest and the strongest are still going to stand out.
Right.
What were your thoughts on my response? Because Todd sent me over that post from TTT and Hiller analyzing it, saying the change isn't enough in the last 5 years or 6, however many years it's been, that he was comparing the data points to from the men's side. He's like, well, that across that much time span, that's not a lot of growth. So that doesn't look very good. My response was analyzing the shift in priorities in the sport, and that there was a period of time where the barbell was sort of prioritized, obviously to a fault. And then in 2017, we had a year of the dumbbell. We saw a implementation of a lot more odd objects throughout, you know, the games and the higher levels of the sport. With that shift of priorities of implements and the shift of like the styles of lifting, I think we created a more well-rounded strength for sure. But do you think that actually like slowed the development of the specialists because everyone else is so well-rounded now? Like, we used to have people go to the games who were just able to skew the leaderboard because they were so much of a specialist, and everyone else had holes as well. And now, because we're creating these more well-rounded athletes, and arguably on the men's side, you can't have a hole anymore to even make it, I would say, almost to semifinals. And do you think that with those shifts throughout the evolution of the sport is what also like plateaued the top end?
I think it's a contributor. I think more or less my argument, and I'm only using other information, like, because I just Googled it to see, but like 400-meter world record progression, in 1912, the 400-meter world record was 48.2 seconds. And then now it's like 43.93 seconds and 43.0. So 5 seconds of growth.
Right. And what's interesting about those types of events is technology.
Right. The running on clay tracks versus the composite, having spiked shoes. And I think that my point to that is I think like we're at a point with weightlifting in CrossFit that unless you take away some of these other demands, like the running, the rowing, the swimming, the gymnastics, you're not going to like see these huge growth adaptations in strength. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think it's foolish for people to think that it should or could.
Yeah, and I think that that's an okay thing. Like, I don't think that we need to have stronger people. I think that having more well-rounded bodies and continuing to elevate like the barrier to entry, right, of like being this like perfectly well-rounded CrossFitter who can do all of the things pretty damn well. It's like that's obviously going to take you farther in the sport than snatching 300 plus on the men's side.
Yeah. And it's more fun too, right? If you get well-rounded like that, it's kind of like then it becomes more of an adventure of not necessarily like the sport or your scores. I would say, I know people still look at it that way, but it would be like, well, how far can I push myself in all these categories? Like how fast can I run? How heavy can I lift? How many gymnastics reps can I do? And like taking that approach, I think once we get to a space where the CrossFit's more fixed, like we know, like, okay, you're going to do this many, you're going to have this ability. Like that's what everyone's doing. This is what you have to do. It's going to come down to, like you're saying, that, and we're seeing that now happen. And I think the faster people can wrap their minds around this, because it's going to happen a lot faster than I think we think. Because even in 24.2, you're saying came down to the transitions and midline stamina. Okay, we're already seeing it happen. It's like, well, how do I get faster? How do I get 9 rounds? How do I get 10 rounds? Well, it's like, well, you got to be seconds, hundredths of a second faster. It's like running the 400 meters. And then you got to be picture perfect on your attempt and your approach and your execution to make that happen.
Yeah, I would say that what allowed people to actually stand out in 24.2 compared to 24.1 wasn't necessarily who was substantially fitter. Like people who let's just compare everyone who got 9 rounds, right? For that rate of travel. It was just who could play the game. It's like, how did you want to spend your 20 minutes? You could either pace it really conservatively on the rower and then just like be really, really perfect in executing transitions, aka CJ, right? CJ rode a 207 the whole time and just executed the other stuff perfectly, fast transitions, unbroken. It was picture perfect. And then there's me who got a cramp in the end because I came out at like a 156 thinking that was reasonable for myself. And I held it for a while. I took smart breaks in the one smart break in the double under each round. And then around the 11 to 12 minute mark, my quads cramped for other factors. But that said, I kind of struggled my way through the last 9 minutes rather than having a clean execution. I still only got like 9 rounds and some change. And it's like, we're all right there. But her experience, if I just ran at like CJ's pace, it would have felt easy and I would have gotten the same score. Well, easy's relative, right?
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say it's still gonna be hard, but like that's what I mean. You're threading the needle of the attempt, and like that's something I've been trying to get a lot of athletes. And I'm like, we got 12 people listening, so these 12 people who've hung on this long, if you can thread the needle, especially on this workout and any workout, subsequent workouts being quarterfinals, you get to semis, do semifinals, your masters doing semifinals, like it, like Harley's saying, and I think this is why I'm happy we're having this conversation, is that it's bleeding more into that execution. Like everyone is the same fitness. So when people are like, oh, I'm not fit or I'm not this, you're missing the point. You're missing the point that we're all running that 43 second 400. It's who's going to run it in 42.8, who's going to run it in 42.9, who's going to run it in
stubbed their toe and got 51, you know,
who chipped and lost a tooth, you know? But like, that's what it really comes down to. And I think the problem is like people are looking at these things and like, well, I got 834 reps and somebody got 810 reps. And it's like, do you not realize like the difference every second and choice you made in that 20-minute workout to get the time to do 30 or 34? I don't know how many reps that is from 320. 14. So
I don't know. I don't even know what numbers you said.
820 was finishing 9 rounds, and then getting 14 reps would be 140 meters more in that workout. And to do 140 meters, you know, like if you got on a row right now,
23 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like 23 seconds, and you did 9 rounds times 3 is 27 transitions, which means in those 27 transitions, you made up 1 second every time that somebody else didn't, that got you that score that they didn't get. That's how close it is. And if you slip, like Harley's saying, you slip on that time, it's over. And then you're going to be like, oh, they suck. It's like, well, no, you don't. You just didn't thread the needle.
Right.
It's crazy, man. It's so wild, especially at the top level. Like it's amazing to me. It's cool. I'm glad you're one of those people, Harley, because I get to watch and laugh and enjoy it.
Just make fun of me. So going back to that idea of building up all the components, right? Like once you have this like baseline fitness, it's like how much can we build up this like gymnastics, monostructural, and weightlifting as our 3 tiers, right? Our 3 buckets. How big of a bucket can we get? And a full bucket, ideally, not a big empty bucket.
Obviously.
How much can we put in these buckets, right? So that's sort of like where my off season sort of went, was like, all right, I'm doing this endurance event. I am not aerobic in my mind. I'm not fit enough aerobically, so I'm going to do this endurance endeavor, right? And at the same time, like, well, I don't want to get weak, so I'm going to do polarized style training. And coincidentally, we just made a post about that on Instagram, right? Noah did, about contrast training. So I was basically doing really heavy lifting 2 days a week, and then the opposite, I was like doing a lot of running. And I PR'd my back squat in the middle of this like running endeavor for the first time since like 2018, which is wild to think about, right? So it's like my strength numbers on paper this season look way better than last year, and my whole off season was endurance focused and absolute strength, but primarily endurance
It was
focused.
protected. You protected both things so they wouldn't inhibit one another. And then also, like, there's an argument to be had, because you're a trained athlete, that I think people discredit. If you increase your aerobic system when you're already strong, you're delivering more nutrients and making those freeways easier to communicate, so then you can have better muscle contraction and
More efficient.
Yeah. So I think that's something too to like have people understand.
Right.
That's
so
why it's better.
Would you say that there's neuromuscular efficiency, and then there's also this aerobic side of efficiency? Like, I just don't know what the term would be, right? Because
let's make up a term. Somebody look that up. Heather's got you and Heather
circulomuscular. Would it be like circulomuscular efficiency?
It is now.
What's that noise, dude? Is there a motorcycle? Just
Yeah,
cruising?
we just had a bike go by.
Oh,
Cruising, dude.
it was so loud.
It was so
Figure out
loud.
where that was coming
I thought it was
from.
coming from Harley's. It's like, what's happening? Yeah, I don't know like what you would. I'm sure there may be a term. Maybe someone's
Wait.
studying it.
Can you explain what you're getting? I did.
So is there a term to explain the improvement of aerobic efficiency that adds to muscle mechanical tension?
And would that be contributed to mitochondrial processes, or would it be contributed to increase like capillary density? Like, is it circulatory or is it cellular? Like,
I think
I jumped to circulatory, but like that doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
I was gonna say.
I think it might be cellular. I think it might be mitochondrial density, like adaptation.
Yeah,
Because then you could supply more substrate
Yeah.
to the repeated contraction.
And if there's more mitochondria, typically there's more nuclei to activate in the muscle fiber. That's just me. We have to ask Andy Galpin. He would know
Did
best.
we lose everyone on the chat?
Everyone's gone. Everyone's gone.
Anyways, I'm glad we're having this conversation, though. I've been bored for 4 days, so this is great. It's stimulating for me. All right. Well,
Who's riding the warm up this week?
hey, we gotta go off live for that. All of us, we're all gonna ride it.
I can write it.
Okay, Heather will write it. Yeah, man. I don't want, like, I know like we get on here to talk about the workout and stuff, but like, and I think through the open we've been pretty lackadaisical, and I think that's okay as far as like our approach. I know we try to like look at these workouts and stuff, but because of the game, I just want to put this out for people to know, because of the 25% and the game change, and like realistically, the only reason I wanted people to even try to go hard or like get after it would be for their own pride and ego. Doesn't really say anything about you. The scores get set to 0 again once we go into quarters, like, and then we'll really know. And as the field narrows, you're gonna wipe out the outliers that can't do bar muscle ups, can't do thrusters at heavy loads and deadlifts and all those other things. Because we saw a huge jump in the scores. There are people who are outside and then do the deadlift and rowing and like push themselves way back in. Like I had people in 900s and then ended up in, well, Heather, you're a good example. Weren't you 1,400?
Yeah, I was like at 1100 after the first week.
And then what'd you end up
I'm
being?
like at 400.
Yeah,
now.
she was like, "Oh man, praise Jesus." I was like, "Don't praise Jesus for that." Like, what are you doing?
Well, 1100 was
Right,
literally the worst open score ever.
yeah.
But
So
you know,
you're a good example of that.
all
Of
those
like,
fitty fit people, I hate them.
yeah, yeah. That's just how it works. So like, I knew that was going to kind of happen a little bit, just the way they were playing it up, and I think that's just the way to approach it. And knowing who you are, like through the whole season. If you're a semifinal athlete, then you're a semifinal athlete. You know, if you're a regional athlete or whatever, I said semifinals already. If you're a quarterfinal athlete, then you know who you are and where you're at, and just kind of train that way all year and shift your mindset and don't put a whole lot of stock into what your open score is. If you make that 25% and that's your goal, you made the 25%. Like I know Tristan was talking about the 10%, and I laughed, and it's like, that's fine. But like realistically, 25%, that's the game. That's what we're playing.
Right.
Get through the 25%, move on, and like, get to quarters and then get ready for that. And I think any mental stress, anxiety that you're putting into it is only hurting you in the long run. And then also really just not helping you create a construct of who the athlete self of you is, and like what you are as an athlete, void of yourself. Like your athlete self is a quarterfinal athlete. And like you can look at yourself that way and then say, like, how do quarterfinal athletes train? What do they do? What are their expectations of training and the things they need to be able to do? And how do I build that and become a better one? And then if you're a quarterfinal, bubble, semifinal athlete, same process applies, and just do that over and over and over. So I'm glad you've stuck with us this long, and you're not too upset through the open, because it doesn't matter, but it matters.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's more fun. That's why I was so mad that Ben Smith and everybody ruined the surprise, because it's just supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun, and they ruined it.
I feel like a lot of people were disappointed with my responses at the gym this past 2 weeks,
Why is
because
that?
I was very much like, well, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
like it matters as much as you make, like, because they're just average members, right? And they're like, oh, I got like 10,000, blah, 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 or whatever score, right? Arbitrary number. And that's exactly what it is. It's an arbitrary number, and it's one workout.
Mhm.
And when people get hung up on that and place excessive value on it, if their
Yep.
goal is truly just to make it to quarterfinals,
Right.
it's more about, did you check the box and did you give it the effort you had to give that day? Cool. Accept it. Because the grand scheme of things, this is a hobby for 99.999% of us. No one's making money doing this. Even the top of the sport are making very small amounts of money. And you have to be the top to even do that. It's a hobby. We do it because it's good fitness, good fun with friends, and ideally you're going to build character out of it, not destroy and sort of like self-deprecate from this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter in the sense that it's really just 3 workouts that give you the opportunity to ideally do 5 to 6 more workouts.
Yeah.
Which then is the opportunity to go do 5 more workouts.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That needs to be said.
And the other thing too is, like, if it really matters that much to you that you're upset about it, the problem is that it's a time machine problem. Like, you don't have a time machine, so you can't go back in time and build your aerobic capacity for one more year and then travel forward in time and do this workout. Like, there are certain things that will take time to train, and it's better for you to sit back and go, okay, that was a snapshot of my fitness. I'm going to look at the full picture. I'm going to move forward into quarters, and I'm going to take notes. And every time I face a challenge, I'm going to take notes and try to figure out specifically what the real issue is. Is it a aerobic problem? Is it a strength problem? Is it a muscle endurance problem? Talk to the coach. Be more analytical. Be a student of yourself and what is happening to you and why it's happening to you outside of the leaderboard. The leaderboard is good because it does show you, like, okay, out of all of these people who decided to pay $20 and sign up, who engage in fitness, perceive themselves to be more fit than an Orange Theory goer or a Barry's Bootcamp goer, I am now competing against them to see where I fall in this level of fitness, which is great. That's a cool thing, because then you can use it to be like, all right, I'm going to get a little more fit. I'm going to push my health and fitness forward, and I'm going to use this measure as a thing that's saying, out of all these people who've decided to compete, I'm fitter than or less fit than, and I'm going to improve that number against that. because of these tests that we're taking. But inside of each one of those tests are characteristics of fitness that you need to fix and work on and be better at. And if you get so overwhelmed by the score and where you are, you're not going to be able to look at like, well, yeah, you know what? Like Harley did, took a whole year and ran 50 miles and did all this aerobic work and is improving his fitness and his longevity. And whether or not he gets better as an athlete in the sport of fitness and CrossFit, at the end of the day, he improved his health and longevity because he used it as a tool to evaluate the things that were lacking that would frustrate him. And now, even though his scores aren't as good as I think he would like them to be, I think you're very happy with the results and how you feel in the workouts because of all the work you did this last year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel fitter and stronger in many, many areas of my fitness, and it may or may not come through in every workout on the leaderboard, but that's not really like there are moments where I reflect just like everyone else. And it's like, man, could I have done better? Or like, should my score have been better for this level of athlete I perceive myself to be? But I just have gotten good at sort of compartmentalizing and then like just placing it behind me and being like, well, is it enough to get through to the next thing? And you know, team is different. So I don't know if it's enough yet, but like we'll see what's what. If I was doing it individually, I would lose no ounce of sleep. I would be perfectly content just being like, I am a-okay. Like it's whatever.
Yeah.
But being a team member now, I would like to contribute, but I'm not because there are two other guys in our gym that are really fit. So
Well, you also, I mean, you're at elevation, you know that, you know how it is for you. So it is what it is.
yeah, I use that excuse as a rationale, but I try not to hang on
Well,
to it.
okay, what we could do is after team quarters, we retest some of those workouts. We'll retest one or two at sea level and see what happens.
We could.
You know,
That'd be
it's the dumbbell snatch burpee one because it is painful
yeah.
and it's quick and like see if you get a better score and then it'd be like, okay.
I think I would rather retest the deadlift one. But either way, it doesn't matter. More because I just like going long and slow now.
All
It's
right,
easier.
we'll do that one. Let's retest one. We'll put that on the docket and just see.
Yeah, I'll do it on Wednesday before the first quarterfinals workout.
No, after.
Just kidding.
After.
Just kidding. It's
know.
a joke.
All right. Well, that's it. It's gonna be fun. I like this one. Pace yourself. Have a good time. Enjoy the open. Try to enjoy the open. Love the open.
Right.
Then stress at quarters. I want all the stress at quarters.
Embrace your fitness.
I've had less stress during the open with my athletes, so I appreciate you guys. But yeah, bring on the stress for quarters, please. That's okay. I'll allow it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I'll just quit like 5 or 6 times
No,
throughout the
that's
course of
me.
the quarters.
That's me, actually.
I quit today. I can't do this anymore. Okay, I'm not. I don't quit.
I quit 3 times this week, so you know that.
It's our favorite thing to do in this household. I quit. I'm back. Hire me back.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
Let's get to that warm up and we'll talk to some athletes
Okay, I'll
and
get
have
it
a
in.
fun time doing thrusters and pull ups.